Morning, guys. So, I hope you have understood the topic till the last video, and I hope you were actually. I found you guys were having fun while we were doing the live class. So, I believe this chapter is something which you will be liking. Great. So, in ray optics, the next topic which we are going to take is after reflection. We have learned about reflection, right? Then we learned about spherical mirrors, then plane mirrors, right? This and all we learned about it, right? And we even learned the mirror formula for what spherical mirrors, right? Mirror formula, you don't require the derivation part, guys, because it has been removed from our syllabus, but its equation is required, right? So now after this, today we'll be starting with a very superb topic and which covers the major part of this chapter, which is refraction. Right. So someone asks you, what do you mean by refraction? So you will say that suppose there is section like this, and this is medium 1, and there is another medium 2. Right. If you want to move from if a light ray wants to move from one medium to another medium, so while it moves, it can bend. Right. It was supposed to move like this, but due to some nature, that is, or can say due to the change in medium, it is not going or pass or following this actual path but deviating from its path, and this type of bending of light when the light is moving from one medium to another is known as refraction. Clear? So when this is a medium section, so this is an incident ray, right? So incident ray, this angle, okay, let's make it as I, that is angle of incidence, right? Suppose it bent like this, it was supposed to move like this, but it bent. So this angle is known as angle of refraction, that is the angle made by the refracted ray with the normal, that is known as angle of refraction. Clear? Now refraction, etc., how it refract, how it bends, etc., is known by using a parameter known as refractive index. Now refractive index, in some of your books it is mu and some of it is n. I will be using n because I believe in 10th class you will have used n. So someone asks you, what is refractive index? So it has a common formula which you have learned, that is velocity of light in air by velocity of light in a medium where you want to find the refractive index. Let's say, I will take an example. This is a section which is having, let's say, this is a glass. No, let's take this water. Right, and this is air. Right, so when the light ray moves from the air and it reaches water, it bends away or towards, it is actually towards, which you learn in the next section. So when it is moving, so this is not this way because the angle of incidence, if it is 90-degree, it will pass, suppose like this, right? So it was supposed to move like this, right? So the normal is like this, right? Suppose I hope you understood. The clarity is not there. I'm just telling you, that is actually, I will draw another diagram, that is better, I believe. We'll remove this one and I will draw a proper diagram. Right, this is air and air is in the angle of incidence is I. Right, it bend, was supposed to move like this, it bends away towards the normal. Right, so we'll make this one dot. Right, so I hope you found the angle of refraction also. This is angle of refraction, this one, right, R. Now, so what do you mean by refractive index is, if for this condition n, that is refractive index of this, say, water, is equal to refractive index of, sorry, velocity of light in air, velocity of light in air by velocity of light in water. Right? Clear? I hope this much is clear. And how it is indicated is, suppose you are comparing two. So when you write the equation for refractive index of any material, it is n is equal to velocity of light in air, right? So VA by V let's say it is medium. So I'm writing the refractive index of medium. So if refractive index medium is a higher value, say it is 2, that means velocity of air is equal to 2 times velocity of medium, right? So I can say velocity of light in air is 2 times the velocity of the same light in the medium. Clear? Gives you that glass has a refractive index n or mu as 1.5. He means that. Now similarly, something which you have to know is what is the refractive index of air? It is 1. Right? Now we are going to study about how the light rays bend, how I can understand the nature of bending of lights. So first of all, so I am going to take a surface like this. Let's say this is a rare medium, this is denser medium, right? Now this line indicates normal, and let's say this is incident ray. So this will become incident angle, right? Now let's say this is n1 and this is n2, and I am saying that refractive index of n2 is greater than n1 because it is denser medium. Clear? Right. So when light ray enters from denser to rare, means its speed will decrease, right? So it will bend towards normal. Clear? Right? So it has difficulty in passing because it's a denser, so it is moving towards normal. It was supposed to move in like this, but it bends towards the normal. Clear? Similarly, this is a surface. Again, I am getting a normal section. Right. Now again the light is incident like this. Let's say this is the incident angle. Let's say this is denser and this is rarer medium. This is N1 and this is N2. That means denser means N1 is greater than N2. Right. So if this happens, right, so it will move. What will move away from the normal? This ray will move away from the normal. It was supposed to move like this, right? It moved away from the normal. This is known as angle of refraction here, and this here is the angle of refraction. Clear? Right? Now similarly, we are going to take another condition because it takes time to slide. Yeah. So this is the normal, and the incident ray is passing through the normal itself. That is, incident angle is 0. Right. So when the incident, and this is n1 and n2. Let's say this is denser and this is rarer. So n1 will be greater than n2. So whatsoever, if the incident angle is 0, right? So that means it is straight away coming in this direction. That there is angle between the incident ray and the normal is 0. In that condition, no bending of light happens. That is, the light will come back like this. Right? Hope you understood. Now, if you have this type of medium, there are two mediums. How can you find the relationship between the refractive index of two mediums and their respective velocities? See, n1 I know is velocity of light in air by velocity of the velocity of light in the medium 1, right? Similarly, refractive index of medium 2 is equal to c divided by, that is, velocity of light in air by velocity of light in medium 2, right? Now I am going to find n2 by n1. This n2 by n1, it is v1 by v2, right? And that is n2, that is, how can I say this term, n2 by n1? It is the refractive index of second medium with respect to 1. This is how you are supposed to write refractive index of second medium with respect to 1, or sometimes in some of the books it is written like this, on both, or both of them are in the same size. So this is given priority. So what if you see something like this, N31. That means refractive index of third medium with respect to first medium. Clear? Right? And similarly, someone wrote it like this, GW. So that means bottom gets priority. That is refractive index of glass with respect to refractive index of water. Clear? Right? Or it can, this same can be written in this form also. Same. This Ng by Nw. This is a format of writing the refractive index between two mediums. Clear? Right. Now, similarly, we can find in the terms of wavelength also. That is, you know that frequency or velocity is f lambda, or I can say velocity is proportional to lambda. So here I just wrote n2 by n1 is equal to v1 by v2. So I can even write it as lambda 1 by lambda 2. That is velocity, wavelength of the light in first medium by wavelength of the light in second medium. Right. Now we are going to make a example. What do you mean by NGW? It is refractive index of water with respect to refractive index of glass. That is equal to this one, Vg by Vw is equal to lambda g by lambda w. Always find a way of studying it. See, it is just like this. N is inversely proportional to velocity. It's all right. Refractive index is equal to C by V. Right, so N is inversely or directly proportional to velocity of that same medium. So refractive index of water will be inversely proportional to velocity of air in water. Now refractive index of glass will be inversely proportional to velocity of air in glass. Right, that's how you came up. Right, don't mug up the questions, guys, because it is difficult if you mug up. Clear? Guys, now the next topic which we are going to deal with is law of refraction, or you can say it is Snell's law, which you have learned, I believe. So you can write it as law of refraction, then hyphen Snell's law. So first, it is actually law of refraction is not actually Snell's law. Second part is Snell's law. There is a first part. So, but we usually say law of refraction is Snell's law. So what is the first law of refraction say? That the incident ray, the normal and the refracted ray all lie in the same plane at the point of incidence. That is something you know. I'm not going to repeat it. Now second is Snell's law, which is actually very, very important, right? And many problems are asked. For any medium this comes, okay? Incident, normal ray and the refracted ray are all lying in the same plane itself. Right? Now what is Snell's law? Sorry for deviating. Now Snell's law states that, right, before going to a statement, let's say this is the surface, this is the normal, this is the incident ray, right? Let's say, N1 is rarer and N2 is denser. So N2 is greater than N1, right? So I told you when it is moving from rarer to denser medium, it moves towards normal. Right, so it was supposed to move in this direction, right? So this is called deviation, which is shown by delta, and this R is our angle of refraction. Clear? So when ray moves from rarer to denser, it moves towards the normal. Clear? Now let's move on to the next section. So Snell's law states that sin I, that is angle of incident, or sin R, angle of refraction, is equal to N2 by N1. N2 means, see, sin I. Oh, I didn't mark I. This is the angle of incidence. It happens in which section? It is N1, right? So you have to write the opposite of it. I will tell you the trick. So just write sin I by sin R. That is, incident angle is at the rarer medium, then by refraction is happening in the denser medium, is equal to ratio of refractive index of the denser medium to rarer medium. And I told you this N2 by N1 can be written as refractive index of 2 with respect to 1, right? Now, so I can make this a cross multiplication, so it becomes n1 sin I is equal to n2 sin R. Now, this I will tell you this trick of writing this one. Now, sin I, right? When sin I is happening, is corresponding medium is this one with refractive index n1. So write n1 sin I. Similarly, is equal to sin R. R is happening with this refraction is happening in n2. Write it as n2. So I write n1 sin I is equal to n2 sin R. It's very easy to remember that formula. Clear? So it is better to write this formula in this form to write or do a problem. And if someone asks you what is delta, guys? See, this whole angle will be same as I. This will be I, right? This one. And I can write delta is equal to I minus R. Just look into the figure. Let's take another color, then I will make you understand. See, this will be I. Only half part this is R. So obviously this will be delta is equal to I minus R. Clear? Right? Now, let's take an example, guys. We are going to have two mediums, right? Let's mark now normal, right? Here there is a first incident ray. Let's say the refractive index n1, and this is medium 2. This, let's say it is having refractive index, and this is again the first medium itself, right? This is angle of incident, right? And then it traveled like this, and then it deviated like this, and this is angle of emergence. Right? You are asked what is the value of this angle E, this one. How do you find it? Take your time, guys, pause the video, try to find by yourself, then it is very easy. Right? See, what I do is, see, I know this is sin I, so this angle, see, it was supposed to move in this direction, but it deviated, moving towards the normal, right? So this is a denser medium. There's a common sense. So this is R1, right? If I draw a normal for here also, I will make something. Let's rub this one. I hope you understood. So it was a deviation part. This is R, right? Let's draw a normal here also. So if this is R, these two lines are parallel, right? This one and this one. So if this is R, so obviously this angle will be also R, right? Yeah. I'm sorry guys, you are asked what is the emergence is the angle which is made with the normal, right? So this is the normal. So let's rub this one. You are not asked this one. You are asked this angle E, right? Clear? So I have to corresponding angle I, then R, and another E. So for this section, for medium 1 and 2, I will write sin I. I have to multiply with n1 because that is its corresponding refractive index is equal to n2 into R, n2 into sin R, right? I could write it like this for this medium, right? Now for this and this interface, that is, see, after one refraction, this ray which you see here, let's take another color. This ray which has come is becoming the incident angle for this interface, right? So here I can write n2 into its incident angle now becomes R, right? n2 sin R, right? n2 into its corresponding incident angle is sin R is equal to n1 sin E, right? Now I just saw this is n2 sin R, this is also n2 sin R. I can write n1 sin I is equal to n1 sin E. n1 cancels. Sin I is equal to sin E means E's value is equal to I. That is, the angle of emergence is equal to angle of incidence. This is just an example, guys. Okay, this much clear. Now let's do a problem. See, you are having a ray of light and it is incident in glass water boundary. See, this is glass, then this is water, right? And the angle of incidence, right, this is the normal, the angle of incidence is given as 60 degree, right? Calculate the angle of refraction, right? It was supposed to move like this, right? this is glass and water, means water is less denser, so it will deviate more. Let's say, let me rub this one. It moves away from the normal. Say it is like this, right? Your if the refractive index of water, that is this one, is 1.33, right? You are asked what is the, and that of the glass n is given as 1.50. Let's say this is n1 and this is n2. So you are asked what is the angle of refraction. That is, you are asked this angle. How would you do? Again, sine n1. See, this n1 is with this angle, right? Incident angle. N1 sine 60 degree. Then n2 with refractive angle is equal to n2 sine r. Right? That is equal to n1. What is sine 60 degree? Root 3 by 2. N2 sine r. Right. Now what is n1 given as? That is of our glass. Alright. Glass, I will say it is how much? This glass 1.5. Right, I could write it as 3 by 2 into root 3 by 2 is equal to n2 is how much? 1.33. Can I write it as 1.33? No, nothing. 1.33 into sine r. Now from here you have to find r. Right. So root 3 by, this is becoming 3 root 3 4, right? And this is 1.33. I can write it as 4 by 3 into sine, right? Now you have a lot of function, so it becomes 9 root 3 by 16 into sine r, right? Is equal to sine r, or I can write r is equal to sine inverse 9 root 3 by 16. This is not a proper number, guys. Just understand how to do it. Clear? Right? Sine inverse. Now let's move on with the next topic which we are going to take, which is real and apparent depth. Real and apparent depth. See, before taking the section, this is something which you have seen in your daily life. You're in your bathroom, right? You have a bucket, or take a bucket of water, put a coin inside it, right? Then you will see the coin, right? From your, when you are looking at from the top, then you will put your hand inside the bucket and you will try to retrieve that coin, but you will see that once you reach the image, still the coin is not in your hand, so you will bring your hand still deeper, right, until and unless you take the coin from the bottom. Nowadays it will be normal because you know that the coin will be in the bottom, but it is very normal that you will see that if this is the bucket and this is the actual position of the coin, you will feel that actually the coin's image is from here. It's something you can see in your normal. If you have not noted it, that means it's high time you note it, right? So when an object is in a denser medium and you are in rarer medium, right? The bucket of water is denser and you are in the air, that means it is a rarer medium. So when you see an object from rarer to denser medium, right, that means you will see an apparent shift in the image. So you will not see the actual object, and the actual depth from this coin section, this from its surface, suppose this is the surface of water inside the bucket, from here to here, this is known as actual depth, right? And suppose I saw this that this is the position, as per prime view, this is the position of the coin, then this is known as apparent depth. Apparent depth means depth of the position of the object as per you. Actual depth means what is the actual position of the object inside the denser medium from its surface. Clear? Right. So this is not tough as per theory, right? Because it's something you have seen. So optics is something, or optics entire thing is something which you have in your daily life, right? Clear? Now we are going to learn about it in detail. This is the bucket we talked about. This is the coin, right? Let's say this is the surface of water, right? Clear? And this is the light is coming. Let's say light is coming from here. So which a ray which is coming in this direction will straight away move in this direction. Now let me make a bending here, because right now say some rays move like this, right? So at this point the two medium changes. This is medium with denser medium, and this is rarer medium. Medium dense, rarer medium. So from here, this is our normal, right? So the ray will bend away from the normal. Clear, right? So this is, let's say, n1, this is n2, and this n2 is greater than n1. This is something, I'm sorry, the dog is barking like anything, right? So this is how your eye sees, right? This ray is reaching your eye. So when the eye retraces the path of this bended or refracted light, it will meet at this point. So you will feel this coin is here. You will not see this actual coin in the bottom. You will see that coin is here, right? So this coil, let's say, is from the surface that which you found, and let's say this is d dash. This is known as apparent depth, and this height from the surface of the water to the bottom, which is the actual position of the coin, that is known as real depth. I hope you understood the parameters. Parameters might change according to the textbook. It's okay, right? Right. Now, before you find the actual definition or the relationship between refractive index and the actual depth and apparent depth, I will write what the actual equation is. N2 by N1, where N2 is the denser medium, right? N2 is where? Denser medium. So this is where from the light comes from, right? And N2 by N2, I wrote it N2 by N1. This is where the light goes to, right? Light comes from, and this is where the light goes to, right? Thus, right? And the equation which you have to write is N2 by N1 is equal to D by D dash. That is refractive index of the, or the ratio of the medium refractive index, from where the light comes from, by the refractive index of the medium where the light goes to, is equal to ratio of real depth by apparent depth. You have to by heart it, guys. There is no other way. Of course, I will tell you how it is been discovered or how this equation came up, but this equation has to be by hearted by you guys for the problem section. Clear? Now, let's say this is a medium. Ouch, I have to redraw, I'm sorry. You have to have a, okay, right? Now let's say this is a coin, right? And we have a ray straight, ouch, this is a coin straight like this, right? And we had a ray like this, and it bent away from the normal like this, right? This is a refracted angle, and this becomes the incident angle here, right? Ray which is coming from this object, and it reaches the interface, and there it makes the incident angle. Clear? Right? And this deviation, this becomes the refracted angle. Clear? Now if this angle is I, then of course this angle is also I, because these two lines are parallel. Clear? Right. Now let me retract this refracted light. This is what you see, right? I'm retracting this line. So this becomes your what? Image of the coin which you see, and this angle will be also R, because these two lines are parallel. Clear? This much clear, right? Now what is the apparent depth? This is D dash, this is apparent depth, this is actual depth. Clear? Now let's say this is, let's say N1, N2. N2 is denser medium, N1 is rarer medium. This much clear? Now this is the let's mark it as X. Clear? Right. Now let's just write Snell's law. Oh, we require that figure. This is N2 now, right? So Snell's law, N2, this refractive index, and what is the angle here? I. So it is sine I is equal to N1, and what is the angle there? Sine R. So N1 sine R, right? Since we are close, right? So for this we feel that the two beams, that is which is rising from our right, these two lines will, even if we are very close, we will feel that these two lines are parallel. That is this one. Let's say from here, let's say we are close. For studying purpose, we have drawn it in a different angle section, but when it is actually, you will say this light ray, this one and this one will be parallel to each other for your eye. That is a practical condition, guys. So I can say angle of incidence and angle of refraction are very small, because the thing which is happening is studied is in a wide sense, but actually happens, you can never see even measure the angle of incidence or the refraction, that much small it is, right? So in place of sin I, I can write sin I, or I can even write tan I, right? So in place of angle R, I can even write sin R, or I can write tan R. Now what I'm going to write is, in place of I and R, I'm going to write it as tan R. So in place of sin I, I'm going to write tan I, right? So N2 tan I is equal to N1 tan R, right? Now we require a triangle. Do you see a triangle? Yes, we do. So a triangle with x, d, d dash, etc. See, let's say we are going to take this one, this whole triangle, this one. Let's make another color. This one, right? So from there, can you write tan I? Tan I is equal to x by d. That is N2 is equal to x by d. See, if you have in doubt, x, this one, right, and d, that is base, opposite side by base. Similarly, N1. So for there, I'm going to take another triangle, smaller triangle, this one, right? So there tan R is equal to x by d dash. So it is x by d dash. Clear? So I can cancel x and x. Now I can write N2 by N1 is equal to d by d dash. This is how we approach the equation, right? And N2 by N1 can be also written as refractive index of the denser medium with respect to rarer medium is equal to real depth by apparent depth. Clear? Simple if you see this one as a simple question itself. Right, now we'll do a small problem related to real depth, apparent depth, etc. Now guys, you can please do some questions by yourself. I'm trying to do most of the questions, but I don't know if you guys are doing some questions or not. So I will ask you, if some of you guys can do, I'll ask you in the WhatsApp itself. I will ask you guys to send me the pic. I don't have the book of SM with me, so you guys have to take a photograph of it and send me. Then I will tell you which and all questions you guys can do according to the chapters, right? Because along with the CBSE sections, you guys have to study our entrance also. There's no other way. Of course, it will be very tough in the initial phase, but as you do a lot of questions, it will come up. Okay. Now, let's take a question. Now, there is a beaker which is filled with water to a height of 25 centimeter. Height of 25 centimeter, the beaker is filled with water. The apparent depth of the coin lying at the bottom of the beaker is measured by a microscope and it is 18.8 centimeter. The apparent depth of the coin is 18.8 centimeter. That means this is our water, right? The actual depth is 25 centimeter, right? So the coin will be here, right? And you have seen the coin at here, that is 18.8 centimeter. Right, the water is replaced by another refractive index, right? The water is replaced with another liquid which is having a refractive index of 1.68 up to the same height, that is 25 centimeter. Find the distance that a microscope would be moved to focus the coin again. That is, you are asked how much should be the distance change of the microscope, because it was a microscope which found the apparent depth as 18.8 centimeter. You are asked what will be the change in apparent depth. That is, initially if the apparent depth of the coin was this much, this is measured by the microscope, right? If the new apparent depth is something 18 centimeters, so the shift has been happening in the apparent depth is 0.8 centimeter. That change shift has been done by whom? That is a microscope. So we can find by the change in apparent depth the distance that the microscope would have moved to focus the coin, right? Now, how would you solve this question? So what do you know? That is n, right? That is equal to real depth by apparent depth. Now what is n here? That is refractive index. This is I am outside, or the microscope is outside, right? So I am going to see air, right? So from where it is coming, from water. So let's write it as water, right? First it was in water, right? Okay, and this was in air, right? So I can write it as refractive index of water by refractive index of air, right? Clear. Now I have changed from water to some other liquid, so then I will write the refractive index, let's say refractive index of liquid with respect to air. That also I will write real depth, which doesn't change, by apparent depth. That has changed. Clear. Now here I can write what has been the refractive index of liquid, that is NL by Na, right? What is refractive index of liquid? It is 11.68. What is refractive index of air? It is 1, right? That is equal to, what is the real depth? That is 25 centimeter. What is the apparent depth? We cannot find. We don't know, right? From this equation I can find the apparent depth when the liquid is not water but with a refractive index 1.68. I will find the apparent depth of around 14.9 centimeter when you calculate from this equation. But initially when it was water, the apparent depth was how much? 18.8. Now it was replaced by another liquid. The apparent depth became 14.9. So what is the change? You have to define the difference. The difference is around 3.9 centimeter. That is the change. Clear? So the microscope also had to be changed by 3.9 centimeter to watch the new shift or new position of the coin. This much clear, right? Now what we are going to talk about is a refraction or shift through the glass slab. See, I will talk about a little bit more rather than that one, because this is something which is required in your NEET section, right? So glass slab, it is very easy to understand. See, we are having a glass slab like this, right? So this is one medium, this is second medium, this is again the first medium itself, right? So there will be, let's say this is the normal, this is an angle of incidence, so it will be, see, this is, let's say this is rarer medium, this is denser medium. So the ray will move towards the normal, then it continues its motion, reaches here. This is the normal again. So this is the angle of refraction, then this also angle of refraction, right? Then later on, again this is from denser medium to rarer medium. So it moves away from the normal. Sorry, this angle is known as emergent angle. Right? This is something you have known a lot, right? Clear? Now, actually, if this, I am retracing the incident ray. If this slab was not there, this moves in this direction, right? Let's say, I hope you understood. I'm taking it fast because it's not that much tougher portion. This is something you know. So, if I extend the ray, I'm changing the incident ray. I'm going to draw it again. We'll make another color so that it is easy to understand. The incident ray, if I had, or if we had not kept the glass slab, it would have moved in this direction, right? So that means this was its actual path which has reached here. So there have been a deviation, right? This deviation is known as lateral shift, right? This is known as lateral shift of the wave. Clear? That is, the emergent ray will be parallel. This emergent ray is parallel to the incident ray, right? It is parallel. These both are parallel, but there will be a lateral shift on the incident ray, right? This expression is not there in your NCERT textbook, but write it. This lateral shift S is given by T, which is the thickness of this glass slab, sine I minus R divided by cos R. Write this equation, keep it in your book, right? You might be needed, or you might need this equation while doing any NEET question. Clear? So this is the expression for lateral shift of a ray which is incident. Clear? Now the topic which I am going to take now is something which is not there in your textbook, right? This is purely your NEET topic, which is very important as for me, I believe. Let's take another color here. I don't like black color nowadays. See, suppose this is a medium, right? So this medium, oh no, I'm not going to draw like this. Let's say it is having refractive index N2 and this refractive index outside is N1. Now what happens when a ray travels from denser medium to rarer medium? Right, so this is our denser medium, right? That is the object here. So that we have learned in apparent shift. So it is actually the same topic itself. So this is one ray. So one ray travels like this. This is normal, moves away from the normal. This is what we are seeing, right? You trace this path. So the path becomes what is known as our apparent position. This is O. Let's say this is O dash, right? This depth is our apparent depth. And this thickness of the glass slab, or let's say this medium, that is known as D. Clear? Right? Right. This is denser. I hope you understood. Now this is the angle of refraction, then this angle also will be R. If this angle is I, then this angle is also I, incident ray. This much is the same figure as that of the previous one. Now remember, in this figure, what in the earlier thing earlier section, in the case of a slab, we talked about what is the lateral shift, right? That is the shift between the parallel positions of an incident ray and the emergent ray. Now here there is also a shift, see, between the actual position of the object and the position of the object which is seen by us, right? And this O dash is known as normal shift, called O dash, sorry, is called normal shift. Clear? Right. Now what do you mean by normal shift? I hope you understood why it came up, etc. The same as the same topic which you have learned, right? We need not learn the entire thing, guys. That is, you need not learn by heart the equations. You just have to, you need not write by heart the derivation because it is not in your syllabus. But since it is a NEET topic, I am going to write it, right? So what is the expression of NS? It is equal to D, which is can be taken as the thickness of the denser medium, or you can take the depth, real depth, right? You can take as you want, right? That is equal to 1 minus 1 by N21. That is refractive index of the second medium with respect to first medium. Clear? Right? Right. This is what happens when it is air, right? So better we will learn about with the medium, right? So we'll change this one as 1 minus refractive index of the rarer medium. This is a rarer medium by denser medium. We'll learn it like this, right? Or you can write this one, D1 minus N1 by N2. That is the normal shift of the image. Clear? Simple? Right. Now, similarly, okay, suppose you are having different mediums, right? And there are different mediums of applause. They are having refractive indexes N1, N2, N3, and their actual depths. That is, there are rays like this, guys, right? Collection. This is having N1, this is N2, and N3, and there is I, like that. Then you have to know this is something which just has to be learned only for your entrance portion, not for a CBSE. Then for a person who is outside the air, or in air or any other medium, they will be observing a shift of D1 1 minus what? N1, 1 by N1, because it is air, right? Plus D2 1 minus 1 by n2 plus d3 1 minus 1 by n3. I hope you didn't understand anything. This just means that the total shift, there are multiple medias, right? So multiple medias, the total shift is sum of individual shifts, right? Each medium you have to take it separately. So this medium will cause a shift, that is S1. This medium will cause another shift, that is S2. This medium will cause another shift. The total shift will be S1 plus S2 plus S3. Clear? Right? This much is the only thing. The problems I will see if you can find, then we can do that. Okay? So try to do a lot of problems, guys. I will try by my side.